Welcome back to ASTR. In this episode, Elizabeth Henry, our digital records manager, shares events of this week in Adventist history. Next, Dr. Dragoslava Santrac, managing editor of the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists, joins me as we bring you another moving and inspiring story from the ESDA. Then, to conclude, Meredith Carter, the editor of the annual statistical report, shares statistics about the Seventh-day Adventist Church's healthcare work.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. An article published on August 25, 1932 in the Review and Herald mentioned the growth of the church in the Missouri Conference, attributing baptism to, among other people, Melvin Oss. Who was Melvin Oss? Melvin Oss of Nebraska was the youngest of 5 children. His siblings were Bertha, John, Gordon, and James. All 5 siblings served in the Adventist Church, and 4 of the 5, Bertha, John, Gordon, and Melvin, served as missionaries. James Oss served in financial administration at Oakwood College, Pacific Union College, and Paradise Valley Sanatorium. Bertha Oss Youngberg, the oldest Oss sibling, and her husband Alfred served as missionaries to India for 7 years, from 1922 to 1929. After studying the Bengali language, the couple settled in eastern Bengal, where Alfred directed the Golponi Training School in coordinating educational and church programs in that part of India, later called Bangladesh. John and Olga Oss were missionaries to China. They started their work in Shanghai in 1919, where it grew to promote publishing across China, then moved to Mongolia, where John spearheaded the development of missionary presence for the Mongol people. John's continued belief in the printed word as an outreach method led to the establishment of the Chinese Signs of the Time publishing house. Despite challenges, including John and Olga being interned for nearly 3 years during World War II, the Oss remained faithful to the mission until they were forced to leave in the late 1950s. Gordon and Alpha Oss were missionaries to Trinidad from 1934, when he accepted the call to be the president of the South Caribbean Conference in the Inter-American Division, until 1939, when he accepted the call to connect with the work in the Michigan Conference. Melvin and May Oss were missionaries to India, serving for their first mission appointment in present-day Mumbai for nearly 5 years. They were then transferred to Lasangun, where Melvin led the Bombay Union Training School and May operated the dispensary. Ordained to the ministry in 1928, Melvin and May extended their service to 8 years instead of 7 to meet the school's need. The Oss family has inspired generations of missionaries. To read more about the Oss family and many other inspiring biographies, please visit the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists online at encyclopedia.adventist.org. This has been a look at This Week in Adventist History.
Today's story from the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists at encyclopedia.adventist.org is about Jacob Justiss, an influential pastor, educator, and historian of Black Adventism.
The 4th child and only son of Jacob and Beatrice and Price Justiss, Jacob was born May 2, 1919, in the East Texas town of Mount Pleasant. After his 3 sisters left the Baptist Church and were baptized as Seventh-day Adventists, Jacob, whose reading has convinced him of the truth of the Seventh-day Adventist teachings, joined the Adventist Church in March 1934. He attended Emmanuel Missionary College, now Andrews University, in Berrien Springs, Michigan, to study for the ministry. He majored in religion with a minor in history, graduating with highest honors in 1942.
The creative energy, persistent innovation, and high premium on education that would become hallmarks of Jacob's career became evident during his first pastoral assignment in the Michigan Conference. He convinced the relatively small Inkster Church near Detroit to build a church school, but the funds ran out before the lights were installed. So Justiss taught himself electrical wiring and installed the lights himself. The insurance application was initially denied, but Justiss ended up convincing the insurance company to provide the school with complimentary insurance for a year. Then, when the school opened with the church unable to pay a driver, he drove the school bus himself.
Jacob Justiss attended the Seventh-day Adventist Theological Seminary in Washington, D.C., earning a master's degree in 1945. The following year, he married May Elizabeth Smith in Washington, D.C., and was assigned by Allegheny Conference to teach history at Pine Forge Institute, later Academy, newly established near Pottstown in Pennsylvania. He then taught history at Oakwood College, now University, in Huntsville, Alabama, from 1948 to 1950. Returning to Washington, D.C. in 1950, he served as principal at Washington Union Academy during its final year.
In 1951, Justiss returned to pastoral ministry, accepting the pastorate of the Ephesus Church in Columbus, Ohio. He was ordained at the Allegheny Conference camp meeting in July 1953, and later that year was called to pastor one of the conference's largest congregations and one of historic influence, the Ephesus Church in Washington, D.C. Well received there, Jacob became known as a young people's pastor, in part for his manner, outgoing, down to earth, ready to laugh. He brought a new liveliness to worship services, with sermons that, according to his daughter Joan, were scholarly, vibrant, and short.
Justiss's initiatives at Ephesus, D.C. included formation of a new social services division in the church in 1954 that was intended to mobilize the considerable professional expertise within the membership and coordinate the two departments that already held responsibility for some phases of social welfare, the Dorcas Society and the Deacon Board. His rationale was that the very essence of religion is contained in the duties of social workers, and that the church has a logical and indispensable part in welfare work.
The most prominent achievement of Justiss's Washington, D.C. pastorate was in leading the fundraising to meet a long-standing need for a new and larger house of worship. Raising the necessary funds presented a formidable obstacle, but Justiss met it and overcame it, thanks to his skill at casting a vision and winning support for it. He was the pastor who conceived, organized, and made possible construction of a new colonial-style edifice overlooking Fort DuPont Park on the Maryland border of southeast Washington, D.C. The congregation, renamed DuPont Park Church, held its first worship service in the new sanctuary on April 18, 1959, and the facility continues to house worshipers today.
In 1961, Justiss became director of the Young People's Missionary Volunteer and Temperance Departments of the Allegheny Conference. Again, the innovator, Justiss organized two basketball leagues, Eastern States and Western States, under the auspices of the Allegheny Conference. Such leagues in time became a standard part of youth ministry in regional conferences.
In 1967, Justiss returned to the educational arena, teaching Black history at Anacostia High School in Washington, D.C., and studying part-time for a Doctor of Ministry degree at Howard University, which he completed in 1976.
In 1970, members of the DuPont Park Church and Sligo Church in Tacoma Park, Maryland, which then had a predominantly white membership, collaborated in efforts to build interracial understanding and fellowship. Justiss was invited to teach a special class at Sligo titled Black Experience in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He developed his lectures for that class into a book, Angels in Ebony, published in 1975. Solidly grounded in the broader context of American and Adventist history, Justiss told the Black Adventist story, drawing heavily on his own experience of nearly 40 years and conversations with key participants who had either experienced or received first-hand testimony regarding developments in earlier decades. As such, the book preserves an invaluable repository of information and insights.
Justiss's Sligo class, well received and extended several weeks beyond its original schedule, had another and more immediate outcome. Justiss later recalled that it inspired a group of participants with a desire to do something significant in the field of human relations simply through its own behavior. About 60 class members, mostly white, committed to establishing a fully integrated church. It was organized later in 1970 as the Seventh-day Adventist Church of International Brotherhood, with Justiss as founding pastor. It met in rented facilities at Riverside Baptist Church in Washington, drawing an attendance of about 200, that Justiss estimated to be about 60% black and 40% white and Asian.
While he affirmed the separate regional or black conferences initiated in 1944 as an important advance step for the Black Adventist cause, Justiss hoped that the Brotherhood Church would help prompt Adventism toward a higher ideal of full racial integration. On the basis of that principle, he opposed affiliating the new congregation with either the regional conference, Allegheny East, or the white-administered Potomac Conference. How can you say that in Christ Jesus all are one when you are not demonstrating it? He asked.
Nevertheless, the Brotherhood Church eventually connected with the Potomac Conference in 1972, with Roger Mace appointed pastor. Justiss remained part of the core leadership team until he died of a heart attack on April 23, 1978 at Washington Adventist Hospital. He was just 58 years old. A memorial service for Justiss was conducted on April 27, 1978. Fittingly, it was held at the church Justiss was instrumental in building, DuPont Park Church, and was presided over by prominent ministerial colleagues, including E. Cleveland, Charles D. Brooks, and Neil C. Wilson.
Jacob Justiss was a visionary and activist. He left an indispensable witness to American Adventism's racial history, to inspire movement toward a more faithful embodiment of the gospel. By stepping beyond established lines to build schools and houses of worship, plant congregations, and initiate social welfare and youth ministry programs, he made history for that same purpose.
We invite you to read the full biography of Jacob Justiss and nearly 4,000 other articles in the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists at encyclopedia.adventist.org. That's encyclopedia.adventist.org.
Welcome to the latest statistical nugget from the ASTR Data Collection and Publication team. In this episode's statistical nugget, we will explore the reported statistics on the healthcare work in the worldwide Seventh-day Adventist Church. In 1863, Ellen G. White had a vision which emphasized the connection between physical health and spirituality and the importance of proper diet, exercise, and natural remedies. From this point on, the importance of health care became a focal point in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. By 1866, the Adventist Church started the Western Health Reform Institute, later known as the Battle Creek Sanitarium in Battle Creek, Michigan, led by Adventist pioneer Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. The popularity of other Adventist sanitariums spread across North America, Eventually, sanitariums evolved into hospitals, forming the foundation of the Adventist medical network. By 2021, the number of worldwide hospitals and sanitariums grew to 230 institutions, with 30,141 beds or units, an average daily census of 23,813, admissions of 1,416,223, 19,080,607 outpatient visits, and total employees of 139,670. In addition, there were 116 nursing homes and retirement centers with 8,119 beds or units, an average daily census of 5,151, admissions of 5,446, and total employees of 4,710. Most impressively, there are an astounding 1,906 medical clinics and dispensaries, which includes 2,893 beds or units, 9,095,680 outpatient visits, and total employees of 14,614. In 2020, the annual statistical report began reporting dental clinics, which now include 128 institutions, 293 beds or units, 214,033 outpatient visits, and total employees of 1,347. And finally, there are 15 reported orphanages and children's homes, with a total of 293 beds or units. For comparison purposes, since 2011, the number of nursing homes and retirement centers decreased by 12%, as well as orphanages and children's homes by 58%. On a positive note, the number of hospital and sanitariums have increased by 33%, and medical clinics and dispensaries have also grown by a remarkable 701%. However, it should be noted that this figure is due to more consistent and complete reporting. It is our hope for future reporting that healthcare institutions submit complete reporting so that our office can provide the Seventh-day Adventist Church with the most accurate statistics possible. The Seventh-day Adventist Church has one of the largest faith-based health systems in the world. The Health Ministries Department is imperative to the expansion of the Adventist health message. They have supported whole person health in a variety of ways, including health publications, lifestyle education, the establishment of hospitals, clinics, and sanitariums around the world, training of healthcare professionals and lay members, church-based community health initiatives, medical missions, and much more. It is with great hope that we continue to expand our health system to those that need our help most. For more information on health ministries initiatives and resources, visit healthministries.com. And for more information on world statistics of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, go to AdventistStatistics.org. That's AdventistStatistics.org.
Thank you so much for watching the latest episode of ASTR. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe on YouTube, and please tell your friends about ASTR. And if you've enjoyed this video, you might enjoy our social media. Just go to Facebook or Twitter and search for Adventist Archives. Join us again next time as we share more information and inspiration from Adventist history and today.